Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to another episode of GEEXX Watch. Today I want to talk about an old film called The Mark of Zorro, an image of which you will see here. And you'll see this is still wrapped in plastic. I just got it. I'm very excited. I was so excited I couldn't wait to talk about it. I haven't even watched it yet, or watched it again. I watched this a lot when I was, whenever I could when I was younger. This film came out in the 1940s. So, given that this film is that old, I don't necessarily feel bad about discussing the details of the story. I usually try to avoid spoilers of any kind, but and also the story is fairly widely known, so if you know the story of Zorro and I'm spoiling it for you, too bad. Deal with it. Uh, Anywho, the story is about Don Diego. He is the son of the Al-Qaeda of Los Angeles before it was a territory of the United States. His father is removed, and the new corrupt governor is installed along with his capitan. They're both squeezing the populace of money, doing whatever they want to anyone. Don Diego has been sent off to Spain to study, and his father summons him home, hoping for assistance to try and help the poor people of Los Angeles. When Don Diego returns home, his father is very disappointed. Don Diego is a fop, a dilettante, a dandy. He is more concerned with missing out on the parties and social life and fashion of Spain and Madrid than in any of the concerns of the poor people of Los Angeles. This is all a ruse, however. Diego is actually a very competent and conscientious person. During the day, he flirts with the governor's daughter. He flirts with the governor's wife, telling her about how awesome it is in Spain and Madrid, how awesome the social life and the parties and the fashion are, as a way to try and convince her that staying here in Southern California is not a place for her. She'd rather be back in Spain. And at night, he dons a mask, wears on black, and is Zorro, the fox, who is fighting the governor and the captain and their men and trying to protect and help the poor people of the area. And if you'll forgive me, I'm going to gush like a schoolgirl for a minute, because one of the things that I love about this film is that the sword fighting. And pardon my editing process. This is the final climactic fight scene of the film, or the penultimate fight of the film, between the Capitan and Don Diego. They're trading barbs back and forth, insults back and forth across the governor's desk, with Diego being the dandy that he is, just snidely, softly chiding the captain for his, behavior. The captain getting more and more angry until the threats become dangerous. Captain they pull a couple swords off. The captain pulls a couple swords off the walls, hands one to Diego, which Diego like daintily picks up with his finger, with his fingers as at the hilt, playing it to the full. And then the sword fight ensues. Why I'm gushing like a schoolgirl is because this is considered one of the best sword fights in cinema history. If you watch nothing else, find a clip that's on YouTube. Type in the best swords fight in Mark of Zorro. This will come up. One of the reasons it's one of the best swords fights in cinema history is that Basil Rathbone, the actor who plays the Capitan, was a champion fencer. He could fence with the foil, the rapier, the saber. He knew what he was doing. He helped train Tyrone Powers, who played Don Diego and Zorro. He also trained Errol Flynn to fight for the Robin Hood movies. He was a master swordsman. And he was reported to have said that Tyrone Powers was the best swords fighter he had trained. If he had wanted to, he could have gone professional and become a sword fighting champion. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a sword fight. And for me, it's always been the bar that I hold other sword fights or the cinema sword fights to. No matter how much I love Star Wars, I am highly critical of their lightsaber fight scenes. It is very obvious that when they swing, or even other sword fights too. I was watching another clip of another sword fight scene, and you can watch them swing the sword like the sword is like swung here, and they're still ducking way out of the way, even though it was like 6 inches from their head. And they choreograph the fights this way because they don't want the actors to get hurt. You don't see that in this. It's a bit flashier. It's a cinema fight. But it starts off as a fencing fight. They don't start off making wild strokes. They're fencing. It's all about the wrist. It's all about thrusting and this is a well choreographed, well fought sword fight. There's some flash. I do have one criticism of the fight. It's not perfect. There's a clip in which you see that Diego's gotten a scratch on the arm. But no, I've watched this thing a dozen times. I cannot see where that scratch happens. It's just a close-up of his sleeve with the scratch on it. It's like, that's my one critique, my one serious critique of this 3-minute fight. It is just glorious for me to watch this. I will watch it over and over and over again. It's the main reason I wanted this film in my collection, is just this sword fight. As a kid growing up, whenever this was on TV, I would watch this, just hands down. It would occasionally show up, the local public broadcasting station, Channel 10, PBS, would occasionally do their fundraisers a couple times a year. And probably once a year they do a Zorro marathon. They do this. There's a couple of the Zorro films, and then there was like a Zorro, I think, TV series. I think Disney did it. They would occasionally like play that stuff along with other crap. It was always like that week, that their pledge week to try and raise money was always their best week of the year. They always pulled out all the stops to get the best movies and TV shows and stuff. And this was frequently on there. Would also play on like Saturday matinees and TV and stuff. But if you like sword fighting in films, if you don't watch the entire film, I would recommend you watch the entire film. I love Diego's, or Bassel Rathbone's, performance as Diego the dandy. It's just so much fun to watch, to see him, mince around the screen and convince everyone he's a coward. He's a harmless coward who cares nothing at all for anyone but his own self-interests. And then to become the swashbuckling Zorro at night. I really, really enjoy his performance. It's dated, 1940s film. For me, this is still so much fun to watch. I really, really love it. So yes, I have been gushing like a schoolgirl. But this is one of the films, from my childhood that I love, and I've watched repeatedly. I was so glad to finally find it to add to my collection. Sorry for the little crinkling plastic noise. Like I said, I haven't even unwrapped it yet, but we'll be watching this at the first opportunity. Thanks for, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with me being all giddy and excited about this film. If you liked watching this, I don't know why, but I'm too happy to care. And until next time, good hunting.